Oh, hey you all, it is Tease. Good day, good afternoon, good evening. I hope all are well, hope all are safe. So I think right now off the top of my head I have two current event updates, and I guess the latest one will be the power grid thing. Um because remember when I mentioned a few days ago, here um in California the lights or the power was out. I don't know if it's for the whole county or the whole state, but the power was out. I would say at least 30 minutes to an hour, but it went out around the time I was asleep, so I didn't really notice, nor did I care. But it did eventually hit the news that, oh, okay, hey, the power is out in LA, or the power was out in California areas. And I only mention that because I think so far three states has been hit with a major power outage. I think was it North Carolina, Oregon, and was it Maine? I forgot the other. I'm not really correct on the other two states, but two other states got hit with like a major power outage, like as oh, this isn't just a regular old power outage due to the weather or power outage due to somebody hitting the lines. This is like a power outage due to somebody hitting the power source where it hurts. Like they're going after those, like literally like the 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 grid, or they're going after the heart of this power source. So to the point where they'll basically they'll go right for the jugular. So they'll go for the jugular on the power source, and even on the water source. You think like, oh, that's just water. There's no power needed for that. But it's like, yeah, they have to use the backup power to clean and filter out that water in order to cycle or recycle the water. And I only say that because it's like if you're going for the jugular for the electricity, and then most of the time with these jugular power grids that are getting hit, and also too they're labeling it as, oh, that's just vandalism. But it's like, my thing is, when it goes to being where it's on a professional level, it's no longer vandalism or hacking. That's a mission, so to speak. Because even with the whole a hacker hacked into the banking system and stole everyone's money with all these accounts. Okay, that's not a hacker. That's a professional. So that means that's on a different level. If I can professionally rob you or professionally put you out of electricity, then I'm no longer a vandalism person. I'm a terrorist, so to speak, or I'm on a mission. Because they'll blame it in the name of, oh, that's just vandal. It's just somebody just going around randomly just tampering with the. And it's like, if I'm just randomly just tampering with the electricity, I like, okay, I'll just go around busting light bulbs, or hell, even knocking over lamp posts. Okay, if I just want to mess up, okay, let me just go run over lamp posts. But it's like, no, if I'm going right for the jugular, and I know exactly what to tear up in order to see to it that you have no electricity, that's a professional terrorist, basically. Even with the guy, remember with the man that had that water machine where he can make water out of thin air, and they were using it in Flint, and then his machine was quote unquote vandalized, but it was vandalized in such a professional way to where it's like a professional knew exactly where to go right for the jugular of this machine. And I only say that because that just sounds like a setup, because it's one thing to be without, but then it's another thing to not only are you without, but it's going to be a while before they get these stuff fixed. Because like as I mentioned, when they go for the jugular, they said when it's time to fix this stuff, it takes at least a week to even fix it. So like, okay, well, I know what the problem is, but it's going to take me a week to even before you even think you're going to get any damn electricity. So again, if you know you can't last a few hours without electricity, and then let alone days, now what about the weeks, months, and years that you could be without electricity? And it's not saying that it's impossible to have the electricity, but it's like, it's only like that because it's like nobody's producing their own electricity. It's like we're relying on this energy source that somebody's going out their way to quote unquote vandalize. And it's like, you're going to be in trouble because it's like you're not creating your own power. And I only say that because that's the bug in your ear to, like, if you absolutely want electricity, or if you feel like you may need it, you might want to get those backup generators. Then yes, they can be expensive. And I would say if you want to get the real one, the one that can power up your fridge, or maybe a space heater, I want to say those start off at least $1,000 to $1,500. They start off, and that's not the count if you got those, with the solar charging system. They can be expensive, but I can tell you they will be worth it. Because like I say, you just put yourself in a sticky situation to where, like, okay, I'm going to turn the lights on myself in the middle of winter. Turn the lights off on yourself in the middle of winter, and then ask yourself, would you pay $1,500 to get warm? Or hell, some people will kill you and themselves to get warm. So it's like, trust me, if you get yourself in a pickle tight enough, you will easily come up with that money, or you at least kill somebody to get warm. So it's like, yeah, it sounds expensive, but you get put in a pickle, you will do what you got to do. Yeah, so that's just to put the bug in your ear to, don't wait for a disaster, especially in the winter. It's one thing, summer you can probably make things work, but the winter, you're a lot more needy in the winter. Yeah, so keep that in mind. Keep that in close consideration. You just turn the lights on yourself for just a few hours, and I'm sure you're gonna be like, "Damn, I'm ready for these lights to come back on." Well, you better get that backup generator, because if you got these professional terrorists or these professional vandalism people going for the jugular on these power grids, and you're not creating your own power, then you're gonna be in trouble anyway. But the second update is, with the strange activities with the animals. Remember, I said, okay, you have the sheep running in circles, you have the dogs waiting in line, and I guess, well, yeah, and then you got wild animals. They're eating humans now because I guess something's going on with their food chain. Yeah, so their food chain is off balance, so to speak. Whether the food isn't there or maybe the food got pushed out of the area, whatever's going on, they have to go elsewhere to look for food. But I guess in Seattle, some guy reported, he was like, yeah, there are so many crows. He said they've never seen literally thousands. He said it's probably hundreds of thousands of crows that's literally just hanging out in neighborhoods. They will swarm the trees, swarm the power lines, swarm the roofs. And you'll think like, okay, anytime you see a bunch of birds or a bunch of crows, it's like, okay, well, they're just migrating. Okay, you'll probably see a bunch of them, but they'll just be flying over like, okay, I'm just passing through, so to speak. But when he showed the video of all these crows, like, you could hear literally a bunch of crows like, ah, 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 like making noise. So I don't know if they were crying out or if they were just conversating, because it was just so many. But it was like a huge, like a choir of crows. And I don't know, maybe it was a panic. Maybe they were like, yeah, maybe they were just like, dang, something ain't right here. We gotta figure out what the hell we gonna do, Because, like, I'm sure, like I say, animals, even though they're off balance too, just because something's going on in the world, they know a lot more than what we know. They'll be more in tune than we are, because they're still in sync. Like I say, even when they went to leave, a lot of them, they still picked up and left at the same time, but they just moved from this side to it. So they weren't congregating to just say, okay, we're gonna leave from here to head west. But it's like they all were literally clustering up in this area that was near Seattle, and it was like they just clustered. He said Seattle has never seen this many crows just literally hanging out. It's like, it's one thing to see a bunch of birds or crows just passing by, just to migrate for the winter or just to travel or whatever they're doing. Like, okay, yeah, you may see a bunch of birds, but just to cluster up and you're clogging up the roof and clogging up trees, like literally, he said it was so many. He said he didn't know what the hell's going on, so he took it as, okay, maybe that's like an omen or something's going on, and it's just freaking the birds out, and maybe they're trying to tell us something, which is why they're keeping ying. It was so much bird noises, and then it's like, yeah, he was like, yeah, I've never seen this many crows. I think he said it was at least thousands of. He said, yeah, thousands of crows. Because one thing, he just, this is a bunch. He said it was just probably every crow in the world that came to cluster over Seattle. Yeah, so I guess just take heed to these small signs and wonders, because those there are still warnings. You think like, well, damn, what the hell's going on with the animals? What has the animals freaking out, and what has the people freaking out, and what are these demons up to? Because it's like it's much more going on than what they're actually going to tell you. That's why sometimes, and most of the time, and all the time, you have to put two and two together, and two together to piece together what's really going on using your discernment. But anyway, I hope all are well. Hope all are safe.